Hi, this is Sarah Nance, and this is my Module 16 case study called Parental Apathy. So in identifying the problem with this case study, there's a couple things that we know, and we know that Mrs. Rose is a new assistant principal at John F. Kennedy High School. The school has had parent groups in the past, but as of right now, there are no parent groups. The principal, upon conversation, had previously conducted some parent communication and realized or summarized that the community is just not involved or not interested in being involved. He's not anti-parent involvement, but at this point in time, he only wants to even consider a parent advisory committee, not a PTO or PTA, because he thinks he has a pretty good sense of what the community needs and wants, and being involved in the school is not one of them. So students provided their parents with an invitation to come to a school meeting, but only 8 parents showed up, and the meeting was all but canceled at the principal's request. He was disappointed in the turnout, as was Mrs. Rose. So what I would need to know to further my knowledge on this case is why the PTO and PTA organizations of the past had been disbanded. What measures did the principal previously take to, quote, get a pulse on the community, as he said? Did he offer surveys? Did parent phone calls? Anything of that sort? That was not made clear. It's unclear what the community actually wants and needs, so I would kind of want to know that. And how can the school, or what can the school do to satisfy that need? I think it'd be interesting and necessary to know the demographics of the community, if there's any particular industry that should the school partner with the community, we could kind of collaborate about and highlight or enhance. So the problem, as I identified it, is knowing that parents are a vital part of the school's community, and for a variety of reasons, the parents at this school are not involved in the school's happenings. The principal doesn't seem motivated or encouraged to increase the parent involvement or address that apathetic community that appears to exist. And so the assistant principal, Mrs. Rose, does not feel empowered to help the situation much, because although she wants to, the principal is not either willing or as helpful as she needs him to be to address the concern. So the plan of action that I would come up with, if this were me as the assistant principal, is I would take the 8 that showed up at the meeting and use the parent advisory committee as a baseline for beginning a P2 or PTA, with that being the ultimate goal. So I would try to empower them, kind of what can we as a group do to get more parents here, so kind of realize our strengths and strategize about them. I would want to get to know them and know what their strengths are. So maybe one is an accountant, maybe one's a stay-at-home mom, one is a former teacher. How can we use their strengths to enhance our parent community moving forward? I'd want to survey them and figure out what they actually want for the community and for the students, and what they need as a general community, and we need a baseline to build off of. I would set another meeting for 2 weeks from now and be really consistent about the place and time. And in the meantime, I'd be very diligent about communicating that meeting information to other parents, and so I'd let these 8 help as well. I think social media announcements, mailers, or flyers posted around the community would work. I didn't think that giving students the onus of providing an invitation to parents was maybe the most effective way to get them to the meeting, especially high schoolers. So I would host the next meeting at a consistent time. Like I said, I would want the principal to hopefully attend as well, to again, show that he is interested and be consistent. And then assuming that we get some better communication to the community rather than just invitations via students, there would be more parents at the next meeting. And so assuming that there are more parents, I would get them working on a project that is non-threatening, visible, and very positive. So perhaps a lunch or ice cream social for students with a take-home flyer, about upcoming parent advisory meetings. It's much more positive than just deliver this to your parents. But even beyond that, I would maybe have a booth at back to school night or other places where parents are in the school so that they can see the work that the parent advisory committee is doing. I would try to set up a meeting between the admin and the parent advisory committee to allow them to discuss what they see are needs, and then I would do everything I could to honor their requests and acknowledge their needs and mobilize an action plan for fulfilling those needs moving forward. I would then just reiterate the follow-up projects and exposure. So maybe booths at football games, selling merchandise to generate revenue for the PAC, and again, kind of building a baseline for the rest of the year and hopefully for years to come. So finally, to resolve the issue, we need to create a PTO or PTA where parents and teachers come together to realize and actualize what the school needs. So by the end of the year, I would want a PTO established, and so I would then conference pretty often with the principal and have committed members from the parent advisory committee join the meetings, and so he could see the benefits of the group as well. And I would also want students to join occasionally too, so that they can be just as involved in the happenings as well. So again, to resolve the issue, we would want to develop a trusting relationship between the school and the community. And that would be between Mrs. Rose and the principal. They need to trust one another, between the parents and the administration, of course, and then in a larger scale between the community and the school. So as I was going through this, I was thinking that parent involvement is a vital part of how a school sustains itself, thus that as a school principal, I could not ignore the issue. I was also thinking that I needed to increase parent turnout and reduce some of the apathy in the most non-threatening manner. I was feeling a little embarrassed, I would, if I were the assistant principal, that only 8 parents showed up despite our renewed effort to get parents there. Maybe overwhelmed with some of the goals that as an assistant principal I have in partnering with the community, since it seems to be Everest in a way. I was feeling a little bit unsure about the future of this endeavor because a lot of moving parts would have to be kind of put into plan right away. And also encouraged, though, that there was a baseline of interested parents that we could build from. I was valuing parental involvement, being paramount to sustainability and success for all students. I was valuing community relations, knowing that strong partnerships mean a strong school and then also a strong community. I was also valuing the principal's prior experience with parents. I didn't want to step on his toes or act like I knew better than him or question his experience and values, but that is definitely something that was kind of a roadblock in determining how we could move forward based on his experience and desire to move forward with parent apathy. So the unresolved issues are open to further investigation. Will the parents show up next time? Will more parents show interest with a more committed effort? And based on that increasing parent turnout, will the principal actually consider a PTO or PTA at the end of the year? What evidence can we show them that this is necessary? Another unresolved issue is the cost of mailers and invites, but also parent-sponsored events like the luncheon or the ice cream social. We would need to find room in the budget for these endeavors. Finally, Standard 7, an educational leader, promotes communities of engagement for families and other stakeholders in the school's community. So how did I, as the educational leader, promote the academic success and personal well-being of every student? Mrs. Rose, the assistant principal, prioritizes a relationship with the community, knowing that, as a quote from the module, through the practicing of collaboration that the school leaders acquire knowledge of community interests and needs and mobilize the support that is necessary to address those needs. So because Mrs. Rose would prioritize a relationship with the community, she's valuing those that showed up at the initial meeting, reflecting on how to bolster participation, and strategizing an action plan that is non-threatening and sends a positive message about parent involvement. It's encouraging, she's encouraging sustained commitment to the PAC. She would be surveying both parents and students for what they view as needs for the school community, setting goals for the years in regarding collaboration with the community and developing a PTO, PTA. Mrs. Rose is engaging in the community's needs and involving all members of the administrative team in joining with the parents. She's reaching out using multiple forms of communication, flyers, mailers, social media posts, and recognizing that with a collaborative community, students benefit from the many partnerships and creative ideas that can be forged in partnering with the parent community. Thanks so much for watching.